Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are checking out another Twice album, this time page 2. I'm always so excited when I get to do album listens because it's just a whole chunk of songs that I get to listen to, and of course like B-sides are just like, they're where all of the good stuff is, honestly. Like, not that singles can't be super fun and they can't be like super iconic, but I feel like B-sides are just like really where you get to see all of the nuance and cool things that different groups can do, because they're not trying to get something that they're going to perform a bunch of times or like convince people to like their group and stuff. They're like, here are just some cool creative things that we're going to, you know, continue to rope in people after we've already sold them on the group with the singles. So I am super excited for this. However, I am currently getting over having a cold, so if I sound a little bit rough or you know, I miss some things that usually I would not, it's the cold and I apologize. But also we gotta, you know, we gotta get into this album. Let's get into it because we have so many songs already and I know that I'm gonna talk for a bunch. This is gonna be a long video, so get a snack, get a drink, and let's get into the first song. First song, Precious Love. I don't know what we're going to get into sonically with this album because they tend to kind of take me on a bit of a roller coaster ride with that. So I want to say that this might be kind of more on the softer side, but I could be totally wrong. Y'all are probably laughing at me because I don't really know what I'm getting into, but I don't know. I don't know what I should get from the title Precious Love. What? I feel like this is just like the glitching sound that my brain makes when I get to certain parts of songs that, like, production-wise, where I'm just like, but what? Who decided that those sounds should go together and why do they sound amazing? It's the sound.
I'm so sorry. Please come back.
Ooh, all of the synth noises though. It almost sounds like 8-bit. You know, like it makes me think of like old video games, which I love. We actually start with Chaeyoung, her getting to sing. Like, I feel like she usually isn't the one who starts songs that I know of. I'm trying to think back through all the songs now. I don't recognize their voices well enough that when I just listen to the songs again, I don't necessarily remember who's singing what part. But I feel like I don't remember her starting a song. Interesting choice though. I love the video game vibe though. The bass and like drums coming in. Ooh, I was just thinking like the melodies that they're choosing, because you do have all these like little parts in the production that are like these little sounds, and like I was saying kind of like 8-bit, so they're very like electronic, which means that they kind of have this like sharp edges kind of to the sound. And then the way that they're choosing to do the vocal melody is a lot more drawn out and languid, and it matches with like the melancholy feeling of the lyrics for it. So it's almost like the contrast between those things of like the more melancholy emotive things that they're doing with the vocals and the lyrical content mixed with like this very digital sound. I wonder if we'll get to a point where like the story of the song kind of meshes those two ideas better together. Ooh. Ooh. oh, sorry, like it really picked up in the chorus and I loved that. I love the little change up in the melody that we got with Jio's part where she kind of like changed the melody a little bit. Again, I don't know music theory so super well, so like I can't tell you what she did really, but it was like she like lowered and she got into like a really nice kind of like chest placement with her voice. So it just made it a little bit of a darker sound with it, which had me thinking of, I actually really like that they started with Taeyang and Junghyun, where you have sort of those lower tones with both of their voices, especially with Chaeyoung to her voice anyway. So it matches with kind of like melancholy. I've said before with some of their other songs where they start with some of the breathier, softer singers to mimic almost like tentativeness or like shyness or nervousness with some of their song arrangements. And then with this one, we're starting with some of the like darker toned voices where it has more of a feeling of that melancholy, that sadness, that regret to it that matches really well. Continuously, I love the way that they choose to arrange the song of like who's singing what part, because I feel like it just shows the progression of the story of the song super well. She almost like falls off at the end of the phrase. I love the bass with the little electric sound synth. Oh, I was not ready for a little breakdown. I feel like I'm getting distracted by a lot of the production in this, that I'm like, it's between like the choices of their vocals and the production. I'm gonna be honest, the lyrics are kind of just a like thing in my peripheral. I get like the gist though. I get the gist that we've lost them, we've hurt someone unintentionally, or possibly we didn't think that we would hurt them as much as we actually did. And there's a lot of regret about that. But I'm loving the production on this and like the contrast of that with their voices. And I wonder if that almost goes with the story of, like I was saying, it sounds like a video game, if it's almost like they kind of treated this person or the feelings that this person had as a bit of a game, like they played with it a little bit, and that's why they ended up hurting this person, and they didn't know that that's what they were doing. They thought that they were just like kind of playing around and they were just kind of like having fun, especially since a lot of their stuff, their concept at the beginning is more of that like young, you know, teenager kind of time. And a lot of the time when you're like a teenager and if like it can be a romantic relationship, it can be a platonic friendship, it can be even just like finding out that somebody is interested in you or is like intrigued by you or something, and you just kind of have fun with it, and it seems like everything is kind of temporary and you act a little bit more impulsively and you don't realize that what you're doing is hurting the other person because you're still kind of figuring out who you are and then comparing that to like empathizing with other people. So I wonder if it's almost like that's maybe some of the reason why you have some of those kind of like game kind of sounds. And I think also like having it almost makes me think about an arcade, because that's where like I heard a lot of that music. We didn't have a ton of video games in my life as like a young kid, so it was like when you got to go to the arcade and play, that was kind of like the main time when I got to play video games a lot, until I ended up getting like a handheld later on. So it almost makes me think of like arcades, which are just like fun and they're temporary, and it's kind of like in that moment you would go when you're a kid and play in an arcade and you're probably with like other people. It's kind of like just like a fun afternoon, as opposed to like thinking of like the longevity, thinking of like this might actually be something that means more to the other person, and that maybe you should like tread with more caution with those feelings. Maybe I could be reading too much into it, but you know what? I love putting together a narrative. I was distracted by the breakdown that we got though. Oh, I love that build up. Okay, is it bad that I was like, Nina? Just like like at a moment where I'm like, I realize we haven't heard everyone yet, and I'm like, hang on a minute. Because usually, maybe I just like haven't noticed until this time, but I feel like a lot of the time they switch a little bit more rapidly between who's singing because they try to like give everyone at least like a few lines. But with this one, it feels like we're staying with people. It's usually like the chorus is usually cut into like two parts and two people do the vocals for that one. But usually with the verses, they kind of switch around a little bit more. I'm just like, I'm missing voices. I love how this chorus picks up. I feel like if that is in fact Mina, because I have to keep in mind that sometimes lyric videos aren't the best, but I feel like that's more closure and like brightness than I've heard from her voice yet at this point. Maybe like a few lines, but I think like having like that whole first part of the chorus for her is like a more like longer time of her like having that more closure and brighter tone to her voice than I'm used to. She sounds lovely. Okay, like before we get into like the bridge and stuff, can I just say that like when Sana sings, she sounds so cute that I'm just like, I would forgive you anything. Not important to the song, not like a in-depth note there, but like whenever she sings, I'm like, I would literally do anything for you. Wouldn't even ask questions. Ooh. Ooh, the note went up again. I was like, before I was saying that they kind of felt like when they were singing the melody that it was kind of dropping off at the end of phrases. That one, it felt almost like it was rising instead. And then we had that note that kind of like went up and then she went up again, which is so like, just a cool little detail. I feel like this song is too sad for me to be bopping out this much. Oh, I didn't think we were gonna get a rap part. I'm like shocked, but I just had a thought of like when I was like, oh, this like the beat to it. You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of going back to like the video games and like arcade and stuff. You know those dance games? That's what it makes me think of. I was never good at them. I don't have that kind of coordination. You know, I was especially like back when I was a kid, I was like, I should have been. I used to do sports things, but I feel like there's something about that game that it was just like, it wasn't made for people who could do like, people who would like actually dance or like do sports things. I feel like those dance games are for people who like don't have coordination like anything else in their life, and then they play that game for some reason they're really good. And the rest of us are just like confused. Anyway, we're getting a rap part though. Yeah, the lyrics are definitely too sad for me to bop this much, but The little like exhale of breath at the end though, why was that kind of like a dagger to my heart a little bit? Yeah, I feel like this song is one of those songs where I'm gonna like put it on like one of my fun playlists because I'm gonna be hearing it for like the production and just like their lovely voices, and I will forget how sad the lyrical content is until like I remember it all at once and I'm like, oh wait, like maybe I shouldn't be dancing around to this song. But I love the kind of like, again, 8-bit kind of sound to the production. I think that it's, I don't really know how I'm going to fit it into some kind of overarching narrative. I know that not everyone writes albums with some kind of overarching narrative, but I like to make an overarching narrative. And for that, I'm not sure how this fits with the previous song. You know what I mean? Because we had kind of like not a relationship starting yet, and then this one is like feeling regret about ending a relationship. And again, we can take relationship in lots of different ways. So I don't know yet. I don't know what my narrative is gonna be, but we're gonna move on to the next song. I don't know what to make of a song called Touchdown either. I'm nervous that we're counting down. This is fun. Did Chaeho just start again with the song? Okay, is this gonna be a thing? Or did I just like not notice up to this point? Because I was like, I don't think she's ever started a song, and now we're having like 2 songs in a row where she's starting off. Also that like shout note? Okay, okay. I mean, she's just saying truth though. Oh, that guitar coming in? Okay, I love that like descending vocal that we had. I love kind of like that claps we got in the back. We got some like bass that's coming through really heavy, then that guitar coming in. Okay, this is a fun one. Not gonna lie. I wasn't ready for the whistle. Oh, I wasn't ready for the whistle and then everything to cut out. See, this is what I meant before though, where they tend to switch a lot more quickly between the different vocals, but who's singing what part? And we didn't have that in the last one. Made me miss some voices. Ooh. Oh, I love a vocal slide. I love the like shouting countdown altogether. Like that must be fun live. I saw some of performances, like some live performances. I'm sure like when the countdown happens and everyone's cheering together, that must be so much fun. That vocal slide though, I love a vocal slide. If you've seen any of my reactions, if there's a vocal slide, I'm definitely gonna melt a little bit because there's just something about it. Love that. Especially since they're kind of like staying in kind of like a middle range of their voices, and then we'll have like those moments where we had like at the beginning of that kind of like shout note at the end of the phrase to kind of like accent specific parts. So then to kind of have that slide up makes me think that we're going to be in a bit of a higher range for the chorus, which of course makes sense to have a little bit more of a higher energy, but also just like a nice transition with the vocals. We'll see if I'm correct. Little vocals in the back too. Oh yeah, that's probably so much fun live. Like horns. Getting with like the sports kind of theme. Oh, I bet there's some cool choreo. Sure. No, do the vocals again. I'm sorry, no, I need to go back to that little like vocal run that happened at the end there. We can't just pass on by. Also this. Oh, I love that little moment at the end. Oh, I love the layered vocals we got there. Ugh. Ooh, I love that we have like the counting kind of together and then kind of like shouting, but then we have the like more sustained notes that are like layered in the back too. I love that they're kind of like adding in these elements. Oh, this song is fun. Oh, I love the horn. All the brass and stuff. Nah, that was too good. Do it again. Not allowed. Not allowed, especially since there was that one line where it was like, this is a joke from the gods, or from God or something. I need you to not do those like choir style vocals in the back. Nayeon giving it her all, cutting out a bunch of the production. I need a warning. They did kind of warn me though. Do the whole thing again. They put a vocal slide at the end for me. I love how everyone's staying in kind of like this chest range because it has almost this, I don't know, it has kind of like an R&B feel to it. It also has kind of like a gospel feel to it. And it just has like this rich kind of dark sound to it, which I also feel like fits with kind of the confidence of the song, right? Is like you're gonna take one look at me and fall in love. Like that's kind of like the vibe that the song has. So having that very powerful chest placement, a little bit of a darker sound to it, adds the confidence, as kind of like, again, adding like a darker sound is kind of like adding a little bit more of like a edge to the sound, as opposed to them having like a really bright forward placed sound, which is far more pop, far more and kind of like a cutesy sound that they've had in some of their other songs. So having that like lower, kind of almost like a lowered larynx, lowered voice box, which I think is where I'm kind of getting some of those like R&B vibes, is that a lot of the time you'll like lower your voice box a little bit, which might not make any sense to people who don't sing, but you can feel it if you do it. It's just, I need this whole bridge again though, for personal reasons, and I'm taking you with me. So good. I like how the brass in here too. Oh, that was too fun. Too much fun. That whole song of just the counting, the shouting all together, the like brass section, the little vocal slides. It very much felt like they were passing off a bunch of the lines with each other. I feel like I definitely want to see a live performance of this because I feel like there's probably some really fun choreo. If not, just the atmosphere of it will be a lot of fun. I feel like it fits with kind of the in Cheer Up where they had the like stadium and they were in the like basketball court gymnasium kind of setting. It fits with kind of that feeling. Like it feels something like you would see at like a sporting event that would be some little like show with like marching band and stuff. Like it feels like that kind of a thing. So I really want to see a live performance of this one. It was so much fun. And that bridge, excellent. I don't know, that last one was a lot of fun. I really don't know how I'm gonna feel. Because every time I'm like, this might be my new favorite song, I feel like they just continue to like attack me with the next songs. So I don't want to like commit too much, you know? Let's see. I'm sorry? Did I say in the last song that we were getting R&B vocals? No, I take it back. This song. Because who was it? Who was doing the vocalizations? Why do they have my heart? Why they gotta be like that? The keys? Ooh. Ooh, the production. So we start with like those keys, very minimal, and then we had the brass. I do love some brass coming in. And the percussion. That part. And then we slow down. Ooh, I love the little vocal melody. I feel like I've heard like 5 different songs. And we're 20 seconds in. What are we doing? What's happening? Ooh. Little falsetto. Whoa. I was gonna say, like, they have kind of a, like, quicker delivery, kind of a choppier delivery in this song, and then Chaeyoung just, like, came in and was like, you want to hear someone, like, hit those notes, like, hit those letters, those sounds really hard and have a choppy delivery, I got you. I love that. The vocal run at the end. I was going to talk about how I like the repetition and how that it almost feels, I don't know, they do it in such a way that it almost feels like a glitch, but like a rewind kind of thing, like the way that they're delivering it, because they're kind of like sliding up a little bit and it kind of like feels like it's a rewind kind of glitch. Might be dating myself here a little bit, but you would get it with like if you would play music on like a Walkman and you jostled it a little bit too much, you would get a little glitch on it. But then we had that little vocal run from Jihyo because of course had to add in a little bit of extra just in case I was paying too much attention to somebody else's voice there for a second. She was like, hang on, I'm gonna give you a little something extra. I have that I'm gonna have to like sit Gio down at some point and have a conversation about what is and is not allowed because she's just look at her smiling innocent at me. Okay? Look at that face. Would you expect her to attack me the way that she does? No. But consistently, she decides to attack me. And I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that information. Also, there's a lot going on with the production. Lots of little sounds, almost like bassy sounds that are kind of freaking me out a little bit with like my headphones because I can almost like feel the sound more than I can like register it because it's so low. So it's like it's a little bit jarring. There's a lot happening in the production. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but the vocals are giving. Uh-oh. Nayeon, I know I interrupted you, but I had to because I feel like I'm gonna have to sit her down too. They're all coming for me vocally in this one, and after Truth, I need a break. It's the fact that she like she had like a cry and then she went up into her head voice and then did a vocal run and I interrupted her and I know this, but it was too much for me. I needed a break. I mean, Mina is cute though. Can we agree? I find it interesting that they kind of like say counting in this one because we had the counting in the last one. So it's almost like in the previous song with Touchdown, it was kind of like reveling in the attention a little bit or kind of like wanting the attention. And then now it's almost like I don't even have to try. Right? It's like, I can't even count now. It's too much. I don't even bother. I can do anything and people will love me, which I like the confidence. Okay, Dahyun. Oh, the laugh though. I do like the I am. That's really cute. I like that. And again, the confidence to that, right? Of like, I don't even have to like say whatever it is, I am. Like it's like fill in the blank yourself. Whatever you want to put in that, I am. I like the laugh. Okay, be kind to me. We're listening to it again. I find this lyric interesting though, of the one that they kind of sing together where it's like, so easily they poke me and then like, so like, I just do whatever I want. It's almost like I was saying before of like the I am lyric of like, you can put anything into that and I am. You can take that as like from a compliment side where it's like people falling in love with them, people saying nice things about them and having all of these like gushing things to say. But I feel like it could also be like you can put in negative things and it's like I am, because if you're someone who refuses to see what I am, or you go into seeing this group or listening to their music or interacting with them with a fixed mindset to it, right? Like if you already have decided to judge them on what little you know, and even like someone like me who doesn't know a ton about the group, I don't know them personally, I don't know what's going on in their lives, I've heard some of their music, I've seen some things about their personality and their performances, but I haven't like actually spent time with them. I don't really know them. So even me having my own mindset about who they are is still like a limited version of who they are. So yeah, I'm going into this saying like, oh, I'm going to enjoy this music, I'm going to enjoy seeing them, with their personalities and their performances and stuff. Like I'm going in with a positive mindset and that's what I'm going to get back, whereas someone who's going with a negative mindset is also going to get that back. Like, you can't convince people who have already decided to not like you to like you. And what's the saying? It's like 5% of people are going to dislike you, and the more people you interact with, the bigger that 5% becomes, right? Because if you're interacting with like 100 people, it's 5 people who are going to like you. If you're interacting with 1,000,000 people, that's a big number of people who aren't going to like you, and they're going to have that fixed mindset regardless of what you say. So it's almost a similar thing of like them kind of saying like it's easy to like poke at them, to like critique them, to have negative things to say about them because they're in the spotlight. They're idols. They're constantly putting themselves into a public space for people to have opinions about them. That's part of their job. So it's easy to kind of like push our own insecurities and our own, negativities onto people who are in the public eye instead of like really figuring out why we feel that way and really like working through those things. And so I feel like it also fits with that of like, whatever, even if someone says like a negative thing about them, I am, because nothing I could say can change that for you. Like, you're going to have that mindset anyway, but I just do whatever I want. Like, I'm going to do whatever I want. You can't change that. So sorry. Like, it's one of those things of like, I feel like even them talking about like all of the eyes spilling on them and like them not being an account can also be for people who don't like them or doubt them, especially since I have to remember this is at the beginning of their career, and this is at a time where people have kind of informed me of some of like the history and stuff that was going on with like JYP and like previous girl groups in that company, which I obviously don't know a lot about. So I feel like there were probably some pretty critical eyes on them when they started out, and that's probably only amplified the more and more popularity they've gotten. It's interesting that you can have this song from like purely a look at all the people that love me kind of way, and then you can also see it from like a darker flip side of like, look at all the haters I have. But you know what? If you don't have people telling you that they hate what you're doing, I feel like you're not doing something worth doing. Because if you're doing something that puts you firmly in the middle and everyone is kind of lukewarm about you, you're not making an impact, right? If you can have it where like a bunch of people love what you're doing, and then there's that kind of like group of people who really don't like what you're doing, I feel like you're at least making an impact, right? Like, you're affecting people from an emotional level, which I feel like is so much better than like not doing that, especially with something like music, where even if somebody really dislikes you, they really hate your music, you made them feel something strong enough that they remember who you are. And that is not something that everybody can do when creating something. So it's kind of a compliment. Gotta hear this note again. Ugh. I like the almost like my heart beating slow. I think that that's an interesting thing too, of like, they're not panicking, they're not worried. Like, your heart kind of slows down when you like relax yourself, right? So like, even with everything that's happening, they're kind of relaxing into it. And again, it's like drooling wolves, right? So like, drooling we kind of associate with someone kind of like falling for someone, you like being kind of like drool all over someone when you kind of like fall head over heels for them and stuff like that. But then also wolves, which are like predatory, right? So again, it's like those two sides to this attention, right? And then kind of dealing with both of them with a like slow heart rate and like a proud heart and that kind of thing, where they're like, I'm gonna do what I want anyway. So I'm just kind of like relaxing into it. And I hope that that's like real confidence. Again, it's early in their career. They're still really young at this point, that I'm like, I hope that they can feel that, at least now. I feel like the confidence that I get from their like most recent album, I can feel that because they've matured into it, whereas like this one feels a bit more like fake it till you make it, right? Like, it's like needing that mask, that facade, that like overconfidence in what you're doing, because the alternative is to get crushed under the weight of it. And I feel like you just kind of have to do that. You have to have kind of like a swagger to the way that you approach being in the music industry at a young age, because people will walk all over you and people are going to doubt you and they're going to judge you, and it's a lot to deal with all at once. So I'm sure that they were just kind of like, let's just pretend that this is okay and that we're doing good, and it'll become true eventually. Like, we just need to kind of push through this. I am gonna listen to this note again though. Oh. Momo. Her soft voice coming through with that vocal slide. The layers too. Oh, that was so cute. I like that. I like that, like, boo, boo, boo. I kind of like the, someone like boos you at like a performance and stuff like that, but it's also kind of like boo-hoo, like crying and stuff. It's like, everyone is the same, like everyone wants to make me theirs. I feel like that can also be taken two ways, right? Like it can be someone like loving and adoring them and being a fan and, saying like, that's my group, that's my idol, that's, my alt, that's my bias, that kind of a thing. And it's kind of like a proud ownership. I think it's more like a collaboration of things, between like artists and fans and stuff like that. But it could also be from a negative place, right? Where people want to have the notoriety of talking about people, right? Like saying something negative about someone who has a lot of popularity and attention gets that person a lot of popularity and attention, right? Like you can sit there and say like an unpopular opinion about a group and get a ton of outreach attention. And I feel like that becomes a little bit of an issue, is that people want attention and they don't really think about what kind of attention that they want. They just want the views, they just want the likes, they just want the shares, they just want more and more people looking at something that they have posted or said. And because of that, sometimes the easiest way to do that is to just say something really hateful and negative and get a bunch of people's attention, right? Because the fans of it of this group and of these people are going to try to protect them, and they may do a better job at it than maybe some others. It kind of depends. I know that we all have moments where we kind of react from a very emotional place, and we don't always react well to things, especially if we're just like going about our lives and it kind of blindsides us, right? So they're going to interact with it, they're going to engage with it, they're going to try to prove this person wrong or defend this person or the people that they care about and stuff like that. So saying like everyone wants to make me theirs is like also an ownership from like these other people, right? Like they want to use their name and their group and the things that they have done and kind of like claim that attention for themselves, even though they didn't put any work into it. And then having kind of like the boo 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 is like, yeah, you can continue to boo for me, but you're still like making noise for me. It kind of like goes both ways, right? Because if someone says something really hateful and negative and a bunch of people engage with it and it ends up being all over the place, all of those people who maybe don't know who Twice is, now they know about it, right? Now they've heard of them. Even though it's from like a negative place, there's still people making noise on their behalf. And also kind of like the crying is like, from like a boohoo kind of thing of like, say whatever you want, cry me a river. Like at the end of the day, they're Twice, they're idols, they're insanely popular and topping charts and getting awards, and you're sitting at home on a computer being mad about it. I mean, enough said. And they just keep watching over me like, you still know my name, right? I'm sorry, who did the ad-lib in the back? Is it Jungyeon? No, that was Sui. Yeah, I think it was Jungyeon. No, who was that ad-lib? In the back. Nope. I like that in the back too. That was a good ad-lib too. Wow. I really like that from like a lyrical side for this song. I really feel like it can be, again, like kind of listened to from like two perspectives. Like you can listen to it from a place of like love and admiration for the group and think of that as, you can like read it as like them getting more love and attention and admiration from a bunch of people. But then if you listen to the song on the flip side from someone who like is hearing it just to like pick it apart and judge it and pull like little things out of it that are like wrong or mistakes or whatever in that person's opinion, it can also like read true for that too, is like people who are constantly picking them apart and like poking at them and you know, constantly trying to find those little things to judge them about and pick apart. And at the end of the day, both of those people are like listening to their music and paying attention to what they're doing. Like I always find that so interesting, is that there are people who are saying like they're not fans of a musician or a group or something, but they seem to always know what they're doing. They seem to always be paying attention to everything that they do. And I'm like, well, if you're not a fan, why do you know all their music? Why have you seen all their music videos? Why have you watched all of their interviews? Why have you seen all of the behind the scenes things? Like, hun, I think you're a fan and you're just mad about it. I'm like, I don't even keep up with them that well, and I'm actually a fan. Like, how do you know everything that they're doing? Because again, like if you can get that strong of an emotion out of someone, you're doing something right. You know, I feel like my only thing with this one is I feel like there was so much happening in the production that I found it a little bit too much for me. But I know that that's kind of like a me thing. There are certain songs where if there's, I like weird things in the production, but if there's too much, and I feel like, again, with this one, it was kind of switching between like genres and sounds, and really quickly, it was almost like as soon as it switched to a different vocalist, there was something different happening in the production. It was a little bit too much for me, a little overwhelming, but the vocals were top notch. I mean, I would expect nothing else, but they were flexing on this one, and they didn't need to, but I appreciate it, especially if it has the kind of meaning and layers that I think it does. I feel like them flexing the vocals is a nice little cherry on top. So I just realized I've been recording for about an hour now, so I'm actually gonna break this up into two parts because apparently I have too much to say about this and we still have 3 more songs. So part 2 coming soon. I promise I won't make you wait a whole week for it. It'll be coming out super fast after this one. Initial thoughts on this album, super fun so far. Lots of different sounds in the production. I haven't quite strung together a narrative. Again, I know it probably isn't intentionally there in the album, but I want there to be a narrative. So I'm gonna brainstorm, I'm gonna come up with some things, and hopefully I won't spend way too much time on this album. I don't know what it is. Usually I get to like an hour and I've done the whole album, but for whatever reason, that is not what is happening. And for the sake of like my sanity, for your sanity, for my editor's sanity, I don't want this video to be like 2+ hours long. So part 2 coming soon, I promise. I think favorite song so far, I really liked Touchdown. I know it probably doesn't have like the depth of some of the other songs, but it was just super fun. And I loved all the things going on with the vocals and the production and stuff like that. But we have a whole other 3 songs to get to. So thank you for watching this along with me. You can click this playlist to see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you can miss the next part and my upcoming Twice reactions. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.